Do you find yourself struggling to navigate through the unknown? In this video, we delve into the wisdom of Buddhism to learn how to embrace change and not just survive, but thrive in uncertain times. Lesson 1. Acknowledge impermanence. In Buddhism, one of the core teachings is that everything is transient. Nothing in life is fixed or permanent, whether it's our emotions, relationships, possessions, or even our physical selves. This truth may initially seem unsettling, but it is actually a doorway to liberation. Impermanence invites us to see life as a series of moments that are always changing. When we resist this reality, we suffer. We hold on to people, places, and things, hoping they will stay the same. We cling to happy moments, wishing they could last forever, and we dread difficult moments, hoping they will end quickly. But this resistance only causes us more pain because it goes against the natural flow of life. By acknowledging impermanence, we begin to develop a deeper sense of peace. Instead of fighting against change, we learn to flow with it. We understand that life is a river, constantly moving, and we are part of that movement. Nothing stays the same, and that's okay. When we accept this, we free ourselves from the burden of clinging. We start to see the beauty in life's fleeting nature, realizing that every moment, whether joyful or sorrowful, is precious precisely because it will not last. Acknowledging impermanence also helps us appreciate the present moment. When we know that everything is temporary, we stop taking things for granted. We become more mindful of the people we love, the experiences we have, and the world around us. We cherish each moment, knowing that it will soon pass, and in doing so, we enrich our lives with gratitude and awareness. Lesson 2. Let go of attachment. One of the greatest sources of suffering in life is attachment. We attach ourselves to people, outcomes, ideas, and material possessions, believing that these things will bring us happiness and security. However, attachment is like trying to hold onto water. It slips through our fingers no matter how tightly we grasp. In Buddhism, letting go of attachment doesn't mean we have to renounce all pleasures or stop caring about the things and people in our lives. Rather, it's about developing a healthy relationship with them. When we cling too tightly to anything, we set ourselves up for disappointment because everything in life is impermanent. People change, situations evolve, and nothing stays the same forever. Letting go of attachment allows us to live with more freedom and joy. It means accepting that we cannot control everything, and that it's okay to release our grip on the things we desire most. This doesn't mean we stop caring, but we stop being dependent on external circumstances for our inner peace. For example, we might be deeply attached to a particular job, believing that our sense of identity and worth comes from our position. But what happens if that job is taken away? If we're overly attached, we'll experience deep suffering, anxiety, and a loss of self-worth. However, if we approach life with the understanding that everything is subject to change, we can handle such situations with more grace. We recognize that our worth doesn't come from external sources, and we can find peace even when things don't go as planned. Letting go of attachment also teaches us to love more fully. When we stop clinging to people or outcomes, we allow our relationships to breathe and grow naturally. We love others not because we need them to fulfill us, but because we genuinely appreciate them for who they are in the present moment. This kind of love is liberating, both for ourselves and for those we care about. Lesson 3. Develop compassion. Compassion is one of the most powerful tools for embracing change and thriving in the unknown. When we open our hearts to the suffering of others, we develop a deeper understanding of the shared human experience. Everyone faces challenges, everyone experiences loss, and everyone, at some point, feels uncertain about the future. By cultivating compassion, we create a sense of connection with others and with the world around us. Compassion allows us to shift our focus from self-centered fear to a broader perspective that includes the well-being of others. When we are overly focused on our own problems, we tend to feel isolated and overwhelmed. But when we expand our awareness to include the suffering of others, we realize that we are not alone in our struggles. We are part of a larger interconnected web of life, and this understanding brings us comfort and strength. Developing compassion also helps us navigate difficult changes with more ease. When we face challenges, it's easy to become consumed by our own pain or fear. But when we practice compassion, we soften our hearts and open ourselves to the experiences of others. This not only helps us to be more kind and understanding, but it also gives us the courage to face our own difficulties with grace. Compassion is not just about feeling sympathy for others. It's about taking action to alleviate suffering wherever we can. Even small acts of kindness can make a profound difference in someone's life, and in our own. When we focus on helping others, we often find that our own worries and anxieties diminish. We realize that life is not just about what happens to us, but about how we contribute to the well-being of others. Compassion can be a guiding light. It reminds us that we are all in this together, and that by supporting one another, we can find strength, hope, and resilience. Lesson 4. Cultivate patience. Patience is an essential quality for thriving in the face of change. In times of uncertainty, we often feel a sense of urgency to resolve problems, find solutions, or reach a state of comfort. But life doesn't always move at the pace we want. Sometimes the answers we seek take time to reveal themselves. Sometimes we must endure discomfort, uncertainty, and even suffering before we can see the path forward. Cultivating patience means learning to trust the process of life, even when we don't know what's coming next. It's about accepting that not everything will unfold according to our desires or timelines. When we lack patience, we become frustrated, anxious, and reactive. We try to force things to happen, or we give up too quickly when things don't go our way. But with patience, we develop the ability to sit with uncertainty and trust that, in time, things will unfold as they are meant to. Patience is closely linked to wisdom. When we are patient, we give ourselves the space to observe, reflect, and learn. We don't rush to conclusions or make hasty decisions. Instead, we allow ourselves to fully experience each moment, even the difficult ones, knowing that they are part of our growth and development. In times of change, cultivating patience can help us stay grounded and centered. It reminds us that life is not a race, and that we don't need to have all the answers right away. Patience teaches us to embrace the unknown with an open heart, trusting that in time, the path will become clear. Patience also helps us to be more compassionate and understanding towards others. Just as we are navigating our own challenges, so too are the people around us. When we are patient, we give others the time and space they need to grow and change in their own way. We don't impose our expectations or timelines on them, but instead, we offer our support and understanding. Lesson 5. Accept suffering. Suffering is an unavoidable part of life. No matter how much we try to avoid it, we will all experience pain, loss, and hardship at some point. But rather than seeing suffering as something to be feared or avoided, Buddhism teaches us to accept it as a natural part of the human experience. When we accept suffering, we stop trying to resist or escape it. This doesn't mean we seek out pain or resign ourselves to misery, but rather that we acknowledge suffering as a reality of life. By doing so, we free ourselves from the added suffering that comes from denial, resistance, or avoidance. Accepting suffering helps us to develop resilience and inner strength. When we face difficulties head-on, we learn to cope with them in a healthy and constructive way. We stop blaming ourselves or others for our pain, and instead, we focus on how we can grow and learn from the experience. Suffering also opens the door to compassion. When we experience our own pain, we become more attuned to the pain of others. We realize that suffering is a shared experience, and this realization deepens our sense of connection with others. We become more empathetic, more understanding, and more willing to help those who are struggling. In times of change, accepting suffering can be incredibly liberating. It allows us to stop fighting against reality and instead to work with it. We learn to see difficulties not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth and transformation. We develop the inner strength to face whatever comes our way, knowing that we have the capacity to endure and thrive. Lesson 6. Trust in interconnectedness. One of the most profound teachings in Buddhism is the understanding of interconnectedness. Everything in life is interconnected. Nothing exists in isolation. Our actions, thoughts, and decisions all have an impact on the world around us, just as the world has an impact on us. Trusting in interconnectedness means recognizing that we are not separate from the world or from each other. In times of change and uncertainty, this understanding can provide a deep sense of comfort and support. We are part of a larger whole, and even when things seem chaotic or uncertain, we can trust that there is a greater harmony at work. Interconnectedness teaches us that we are never alone. Our lives are shaped by countless factors: our relationships, our environment, the people we encounter, and even the smallest of events. When we trust in this web of connections, we can let go of the need to control everything. We realize that we are supported by a vast network of forces, both seen and unseen, that are working together for the benefit of all beings. In times of change, trusting in interconnectedness can help us to let go of fear and anxiety. We don't have to have all the answers or solve every problem on our own. We can rely on the support of others, on the wisdom of life itself, and on the understanding that everything is connected in a greater whole. Interconnectedness also reminds us of the importance of kindness and compassion. Because we are all connected, our actions have far-reaching effects. By cultivating love, kindness, and compassion in our own lives, we contribute to the well-being of the entire world. In this way, we can be a source of light and support for others, even in times of uncertainty. Embracing change and thriving in the unknown is a journey that requires courage, wisdom, and compassion. By acknowledging impermanence, letting go of attachment, developing compassion, cultivating patience, accepting suffering, and trusting in interconnectedness, we can navigate life's inevitable changes with grace and resilience. These teachings offer us a path to inner peace, even in the midst of uncertainty, and help us to live with more joy, love, and understanding.